Chapter 1. Welcome Home. Washa briefed the heads of the Galactic Federation on the Kamadake and ZNV. They waited on the results of the votes from the other planets in the Galactic Federation. Senua and Jurai only got one vote each, just like the other 10 representatives did. While Jurai and Senua were the most powerful nations, they were in fact not dictators over the Galactic Federation, which functioned more like an intergalactic United Nations. Sena went with Eri to take Mickey, Akka, Kerchi, and Dee to get registered with immigration. Akka had been given residency relatively easily on the condition that Eri act as her guardian. Thankfully, the Elder Wow had taken correspondence classes with the GP, and so her lineage was easily traceable for them. They traced it and found that she was descended from former members of the Galactic Federation and was granted a 100-year visa. Mickey and Kerchi already had citizenship and were simply marked as having been medically transplanted into a new body for survival purposes. Kariko and the Cedo Scouts met up with Sena and Akka afterwards, and they went with them to take Akka to get essential everyday items like they had done with Sena when he first arrived. Mickey went to visit her father. Mickey was talking to Hiroshi in Eri's lab, so I guess you know by now that you're actually an AI I created based off a friend of mine. Does the person you modeled my program after know? Hiroshi got an urgent call and had to take it. Oh, you're here. I see. Come on in. A woman came into the lab. Mickey thought at first that it was Kariko, but she soon realized it was someone else. Mickey, let me introduce you. This is Tsukiko Masaki. You know, the one who I made a model of, your mother. Nice to meet you, Mickey. Oh, she is a strong enemy. Mickey instinctively got a competitive feeling when she saw her. It felt as if she was also after the affection of her object of desire. Why do I feel like she is a strong enemy? She thought as Tsukiko picked her up to hug her. But when she finally hugged her, the thought escaped her mind. It felt like when you take a warm bath on a cold day, as if she had gone to sleep on a fluffy futon. It was a warmth of a mother who had adored you since you were very young. Her mother was not missing anymore. She was happy, and her soul calmed down. All the dissatisfaction with her father she had held inside for such a long time felt sublimated by this embrace. Mickey called her mother in a small whisper. Wait, does that mean? And then Mickey noticed something. Tsukiko-san, what kind of relationship do you have with Kariko Masaki-sensei? She is my daughter. It was actually from her stories that I learned about you. So, in other words, Tsukiko, you and Sena have known each other for a long time, haven't you? Well, yes, of course. I know him very well. Oh, she is definitely a strong enemy. Mickey saw Tsukiko's smile and was convinced that her intuition wasn't wrong. Sena was tired from Kariko taking him to get things for Akka. Akka wasn't even set to start primary school for at least half a year. But they decided to go ahead and shop for supplies for her on top of shopping for her basic, everyday necessities. When they got back to Amains, they were welcomed by the staff who showed Akka to her room. As with all rooms in Amains' penthouse, Akka's room was gigantic and she was amazed by it. She was also amazed by all the technology she found in it. She went to find Sena in his room. Sena was busy looking around. He was lost deep in thought. It's odd to think that Fuku was kidnapped here only a few days ago. The D cab bit jumped onto his bed, and the Kerchi cab bit jumped on the desk where he used to store NB. How are you feeling, D? Is this comparable to the homes in the era you were from? Yes, a monitor like a speech bubble opened up in front of the cab bit and the figure of D appeared. The cab bit had a collar that incorporated transmitters that were thought-linked so that the words of the clones could be communicated. The things I have seen have varying aspects from both the initial civilization and the various interstellar navigating civilizations I've encountered. There are many commonalities. But the image you showed me of your home planet, which I saw in the documents given to me, was the most surprising. Oh, you mean the Earth? Yes. That is exactly like ZNV's planet where our former master lived. It's as if I was looking at the exact same thing. There's even a common point between Japanese people and Sena's country in particular. Do you know about the concept of a parallel world? Yes, it's a concurrent world. Do you think that such a thing exists? Yes. Actually, in the world where the former master of ZINV was born, it was confirmed to exist. And the point where it manifested was a decision of the master's father that caused the world to divide into two. ZNV and the Master were the parallel world equivalents of the same person, and so reality had to be reintegrated without ZNV. That's a terrible story. I can't believe ZNV has that kind of power. Maybe my planet and your former Master's planet are parallel worlds? I think this is technically different, but it may be the same general concept in a broad sense. Either way, you met ZNV and have become my new master now. So, was your old master and I very similar? The figure of my former master was better in appearance. Oh, is that so? Ha ha ha. But the astral pattern seems to be quite similar. That's why ZNV awakened, and you became its master, Mr. Sena. Miki and Kirchi are also very similar in nature to the people I once knew. Miki-senpai and Kirchi? Especially Miki's appearance. She looks almost exactly like the person I once knew. ZNV told me that people like Kiriko are gathering around Master Sena with astral patterns that closely resembles the 4 people who lived with my former master. It seems like things balance only when 4 people who resemble our whole group are gathered, though not when 4 who are all similar to each other assemble. Balance? Well, it is true that the people around me seem to be in groups of 4 people. Kiriko, Amain, Ryoko, and Neju. Hakuren, Karen, Jayakiran, Sueran. And together with Fuku and the clones, that's 4. It's a strangely specific number that seems to be less than an accident. But if ZNV says it is not a coincidence, there must be a relationship. Eri should be coming over later tonight. Let's ask her about it. Sena remembered his troubles with Eri and remembered Washu and the ban that was put on him on calling Tenchi and other Earthlings, which had since been lifted. He decided to call Tenchi's house to ask them about it. Tenchi was glad to see Sena when he called, but their conversation was quickly taken over by Fuku and Ryoki, who began to talk over them. They had to cut to a separate chat. How are things, Sena? Tenchi asked. Oh, good. I seem to have acquired another person. Her name is Akka. Yes, I heard about that. We're just getting in, and we're tired. I'll introduce you two later. Besides, she's having trouble adapting to the new environment, so I want to let her get settled first. But there's something I want to talk to Washu about. Oh, sure. The screen suddenly cut to Washu. What do you want? I'm hard at work on the bioenhancement for the Fuku clones. Bioenhancement? I already explained it to Miki, but transplanting brains from clones to another body has a lot of risks. It's easier to just bioenhance them and give them the ability to become humanoid like Ryoki. Oh, I see. Miki wanted to be in her original body, and Kirchi wanted me to give her the ability to reproduce her digital appearance. Dee is fortunate. There was detailed personal data in ZNV about her, so I don't have a problem there either. If I strengthen them to the level that I've strengthened Fuku, then they can control the Kamedake as well. Of course, Fuku has priority. They won't be able to do anything without her permission, but this way you can rotate who you take on missions and give her a break. Oh! I'll also be renovating the Kamedake a bit based on the data from your last mission. But the work on that is being done at the Academy, so don't worry. I don't need to borrow it or anything like that. Oh, okay. Say, how's Fuku doing? She might be turning into a humanoid soon if she keeps on good terms with that little WoW girl. You should let them play with each other. Is that so? If she does that, will she be able to go to school too? Yeah, that should be fine once I make it so Miki, Dee, and Kirchi can swap out with her. It shouldn't be any problem. So, if that's all, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me get to doing that. Actually, I have a question. Okay. What is it? Actually, Sena told Washu about the thing Dee had told him. Oh, that's interesting. Actually, we've known a bit about that for a while. At least about the groups of 4, we've known since around the time that Hakuren's group went to live with you. By the way, each group seems to combine with each other to help correct Sena's probability vector. Haven't you noticed that recently you haven't experienced any daily life crises? Well, yes, I have noticed, but... Look. Just because the vector changes, it doesn't change that you have a probability bias, so those issues will still remain. It's just the large ones that are gone. Oh, neat. But why are these people gathering? Your probability bias is quite large. It's the all-time highest bias ever recorded, actually. It seems that the universe is simply executing a self-cleaning action to correct the distortion. It's stabilizing the instability by combining you with other things. Is that the reason for the teams of 4 people? Is it a total coincidence? Probably not. It may be related to the case where ZNV integrated the parallel worlds. So, you know about what happened over 1 billion years ago. Did Dee tell you? Besides that incident, there have been a lot of things in the universe that have happened like that. Even Tenchi has caused some shaking on the universe's timelines, and with you it happens all the time. I'm going to have to do some analysis of the clone's astral soon to figure out more. Okay, thank you, Sana said. He was concerned about the grin she gave him though. As soon as he hung up, the doorbell rang and Eri arrived. Eri kissed and hugged Sana like a faithful dog who was excited by her owner returning after a long absence. Things settled and they moved to the living room. So, Mickey, how did things go with your dad? They went great. I found out some things I've always wanted to know. Is your father okay with you living here? Amain asked. Oh, Miss Konak, are you annoyed by my living here? If you don't like it, I'm happy to leave. Mickey countered. It really doesn't matter to me. There's just so many people here. I just wanted to make sure you were comfortable. There was no mean intention behind her words. If she were talking to Kariko, however, this would have been a huge fight. Is that so? Thank you. Mickey Riley thanked her. But, isn't your father lonely? Sana asked. I was going to graduate from the GP Academy, and I would have lived apart from him anyways. As for him, my father finally has a proper job and has started to live a decent life, so I'm relieved. Oh, also, I saw Tsukiko. She said to say hello to Sana. Tsukiko-san? Oh, she said she knew Mickey's father, didn't she? He designed me after her, so in a way she is my mother. Yoa, Miss Tsukiko is your mother. Sana said in shock. Of course, Tsukiko didn't know. To that extent, I'm just my father's brainchild. Also, from what I gathered, Tsukiko doesn't have any feelings for him. Sana remained silently in shock. I see, now I understand why Kariko and Mickey seemed so similar. Amain said. Were you spying on me? That's a bad habit. But anyways, getting back to my story, I don't think my father has any feelings for her either anymore. Ho ho. Is there someone else in his heart? Eri tensed up at this. Do you know something? Mickey went over to her. I don't talk about the private affairs of my employees. Eri, everyone stared her down till she caved. Actually, recently, he has gotten acquainted with Raireza. Raireza? Really? Amain asked. Ms. Amain, do you know her? Mickey asked. But Akka and Kariko came out to announce that dinner was ready, disrupting the conversation. They all sat, and robots served them their food. They began to talk again. Eri asked Kerchi and Mickey if food tasted different in their new bodies. But it tasted mostly the same. Oh, by the way, NB was broken beyond repair. I'm sorry, Eri-san. Sana said. I don't care. I got plenty of use out of it, and I got plenty of interesting data. I've backed up the data, and I'll make it again if necessary. You better not make it a mess like last time. I don't know what you mean. NB saved Sana lots of times, thanks to all the things I installed in it. It was bad. Everyone glared at Eri. Amain handed Eri a new glass of wine and she downed it. Well, maybe. Then Eri suddenly got a funny smile on her face. So Dee, how does the food compare to the food from your era? Kariko asked. There are various taste preferences that I have experienced, and I experienced quite a variety of foods in my time. These are all very similar because there is really only so much you can do with food. It doesn't really taste all that different no matter what age you're in. The items I have eaten since I met Sana have been very palatable. It's just, I want to eat curry and spaghetti. Curry and spaghetti. Is that? Sana and Kariko look at each other, and at the same time. Dee, there is food with the same name on Earth, but we don't know if what you are saying is the same as what we know. Can you tell me more details? Okay. Curry is meat that you've cooked. Meat and vegetables with various kinds of spices. The rice is cooked with a spicy yellow color. The thing I call rice is almost the same as the thing as what you have here. Well, maybe. It might be that, so what about spaghetti? Spaghetti is made by grinding the grain, which is the raw material of bread. Then you add salt and water, mix egg yolk with the salt, boiling the slender strand things, and you serve it with a red and sour vegetable mashed into a paste and cooked with ground meat. Sana and Kariko looked at each other. I know that dish. I'll try making it tomorrow. Don't expect too much because it may be different. Oh, you will? Oh, thank you. The next day, when her wish was fulfilled, Dee jumped for joy when she saw the curry and spaghetti. Well, now that that's settled, let's celebrate. Eri said. Eri, I'm anxious about sending Akka to school. Sana said. Don't worry. I got everything covered. Washa said Fuku could also transform into a humanoid soon. Will she also be able to go to school? Oh yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Mickey and Kerchi are probably going to be bigger headaches. By the way, Kerchi, do you want to return to the entertainment industry? No. That is something my father made me do. If it's all the same to you, I don't want him knowing where I am. That shouldn't be too big of a problem. We can arrange for a simple disguise form for you. I think the biggest problem may be announcing Mickey's survival. I don't want to be put on parade. I have no dreams of being famous like that. It is too much of a hassle. Well then, do you want to also change your appearance? I refuse. Okay, but... Mickey-senpai, are you at least going to tell Miranda and Kalichi? Oh, actually. I should probably do that. I can arrange to make it a special mission for them, so they have to keep it confidential. Please do that. Mickey said. Akka yawned. What are we going to do about the living situation once they have their bodies? It's going to be cramped in here. Mickey, you can use my room. I have to go back to school, so I have to live in the dorm. Things had settled since Sana went into space, and that was considered his practical training, so he had to go back to class for his second semester. Akka grabbed onto his sleeve and Fuku ran to him and jumped on him with anxiety. Please take us with you. I'm sorry, I can't take you with me, but I will be back on weekends and it's only for another half a year. If we partition Sana's room, it should be big enough for the four of us. Mickey said. The Kamedake will be anchored to the house for the next 6 months. You can use that too if you like. Eri said. That won't be necessary. Kariko said. Kariko, you're a princess now. So is Ryoko and Neju is a priestess. You will all need to start maintaining your own private offices now. I didn't want to mention it before, but it's not a good idea for all of you to be living in a main's private residence. It's too much power in one place. I am going to need you to find your own place. Of course, if you were Sana's wives, the situation would be much more justifiable. What are you implying? Eri looked away from them and took another drink.